Yeah, again, you've read that right, guys. I don't know how we did it. I don't know who even I am now. I don't know who you are, but hey, hi! Welcome back to the channel. Yes, YAMCHA is OP in the Pathfinder playtest, though granted, humans are a race, Saiyans are not. I feel like Saiyans are built on a little higher of a point by some big astrological number, something like, oh, I don't know, over 9,000! But regardless, we're here today for me to spotlight one of my favorite builds in this playtest as far as martials go. A build I'm actually now playing every Tuesday night if you watch it on Twitch, or Sunday night if you watch it here on YouTube, at a simple job. The Rogue who archetypes into Monk. Seriously, this build is really explosive, and if you, out there, who hears my voice, might possibly, maybe not be as happy with the way sneak attack has been overhauled for this playtest, I think we can help you out. But hey, remember, if you're liking any of this sweet Pathfinder playtest content, be sure to like and subscribe. And you know, today, this episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit was brought to you, in part, by the man who's GMing a simple job, Buffalo. So it's entirely one thing to know that you're gonna not have a game for a couple weeks because, like, people are gone for the holidays and stuff. It's another thing to decide that when you're a patron of a YouTube channel and you hang out with these people and you pay for games in some places, to jump on it and be like, hey, yeah, sure, I'll GM for a couple weeks, because truly, most of us are very busy. But it is an entirely different thing to have no experience on virtual tabletops as a GM, to have not GM'd since, and this is the way he puts it, since I was in junior high, and I'm 27 now. Get behind the wheel, drive, and not only not crash us into a wall, but perform admirably. Seriously, A, color me impressed, Jason. B, kinda thinking maybe we alternate between Simple Job and Greenwich colonies sometimes and have more than one game on a rotation. And C, dude, thank you for your friendship and your patronage. Now, alright, here we go. Okay, so as we all know by now, in the playtest, the Rogue is getting considerably less sneak attack, eventually capping out at 17th level with 4d6, which seems considerably less, yes, but remember, sneak attack is multiplied on a critical hit now, so that will end up going to 8d6. Precision damage is extra damage that is tacked on, so it does indeed flip over, and yeah, that's less than 10. I could honestly see maybe a class feat. I'm not sure exactly where you want to put it, but somewhere an extra d6 of sneak attack to make the 5 become 10. But I think everyone's big hang-up is it's only done with an agile or finesse melee weapon, an agile or finesse unarmed attack, or a ranged attack, pending rogue talents that will let you do more as long as the weapon strike is under a d8. And it kind of feels like a nerf, right? Okay, so the Rogue Monk is here to fix that. I could wax poetic about it all day, but let's just dive right in. Can you guess what our race is? Yeah, you got it. Congratulations, you've learned how to optimize in the playtest. We are definitely 100% playing a halfling. Silumgar, and yes, I'm stealing some thunder from Anthony at Doomsday Dawn, who named his monk Ojutai, because Dragons of Tarkir is part of Tarkir, which is the best block in all of Magic the Gathering. You will never change my mind. Is a human. Better flavor for what I'm trying to do, but the halfling, in addition to buffing dexterity and wisdom, and flawing out strength, which is something we don't need as a rogue, not only buffs 2 of the best ability scores in the game. Seriously, the halfling is just probably the best race, but it also, again, has access to the 2 best ancestry feats around. It's really hard to not build one of these guys. Sometimes for niches you go other ways, but it's halflings by and large. Backgrounds or whatever, just prioritize your decks. Above all, wisdom and constitution, so you don't have just none hit points and you don't get mind controlled and turned on the party. Have your strength a little bit above 10, probably buy off that flaw, because encumbrance is real. Again, we're beginning play as a rogue, and for our rogue technique, of course, we are taking Finesse Striker. When you attack with an agile or finesse one-handed melee weapon, you can add your dexterity modifier to damage instead of your strength. This is objectively the best way to build a martial in Pathfinder 1st or 2nd edition most of the time. Now, yes, the two-handed guys in Legacy Pathfinder can sometimes output just way more damage. However, I will always assert that crit fishing with 2-weapon fighting will yield usually about the same, if not better results, while also having extra points, especially in lower point buys, to fortify your armor class, your reflex save. The closer you can get to mono-statted, the better. Look at the wizard. In the playtest, it's no different. Yeah, bulk is a different story now. It's pretty easy to get too encumbered, but remember this handy catchphrase. In your Pathfinder playtest, when you're playing a dex-based character, use your barbarian to do all your carrying, and you're gonna be just fine. If nothing else, seriously, just break down and buy like a cart, or in higher level play, of course, bags of holding. Now, we will begin with our class feats. First up, it's not nimble dodge. You'll see why in a second. In its place, we're taking You're Next. It's a reaction with the trigger You Kill an Enemy. After downing a foe, you menacingly remind another foe that you're coming after them next. Attempt an Intimidate check with a +2 circumstance bonus to demoralize a single creature that you can see and that can see you. If you're 10th level or higher, you can use this as a free action, so halfway through the game, there's no reason to not try to throw the dice. Lucky Halfling will shore that up if you fumble. Also, as a rogue, you have just too many skill feats, which is not a bad thing. Paizo, if you're listening, please do not take our skill feats, but also, like, we're not talking about our skill feats because you really can just do whatever you want. So maybe don't dump your charisma too hard. Maybe have like a 12, you know? Because Trap Finder is good, but may not be good if you're not dealing with traps. Bludgeoner has been eroded into the ground and we don't have it anymore. Nimble Dodge is good, but will be obsolete before too terribly long. We basically get right down to business at level 2 with our Monk Dedication. Your dexterity is probably 16, so you're good. This dedication gets you trained in your choice of acrobatics or athletics. You get trained in all unarmed attacks, and you get the powerful Fist class feature, which buffs our damage die to 1d6, and we're doing lethal damage. Of course, hallmark of the monk. At level 4, we'll grab basic kata to enter the YAMCHA and grab Wolf Stance. Now, Tiger Stance is good too. I think Wolf Stance might be a little better for a couple of reasons. Now, if you're the only martial in the squad, you may see a little more oomph from Tiger Stance, but Wolf Stance says, for one action, while you're unarmored, you enter the stance of a wolf, low to the ground with your hands held like fanged teeth. Or, you know, Wolf Fang Fist! And yes, that will not be the last time I shout that at you this video. Just sit down. It's gonna be great. This allows you to make Wolf Jaw unarmed attacks which deal a d8 of piercing damage. They're brawling and they're agile, finesse, non-lethal, and unarmed, which means we can add our dexterity to attack and damage, which means our iterative attacks are at -4, -8, not 5, and not 10, and it means we can sneak attack. And, you know, if you're flanking, we're rogues. I bet we're flanking. Again, if you're the only martial, not so good. Those jaws have the forceful trait, which is that same trait I botched so long ago in preview videos. You guys remember those days? Those were good days. That says when you attack more than once on your turn, the second attack adds a circumstance bonus to damage equal to the number of weapon damage dice, and each subsequent attack adds double. So at the end of the day, that's what, 9 or 18 when we walk up and punch a dude? Yeah, no, Yamcha's real good right now, and it gets so much better, but just wait a second. Because of the way archetyping works, we're gonna get here a little slower than the monk does, which is okay. We will be doing dexterity to attack and damage. Our reflex save is better, our armor class is better. It's just a good time to be alive. Alright, Jason, if you're listening to this, we need to play this build out a little farther so I can have all these toys and actually use it. Oh, it's good. Anyway, next class feat. We're gonna grab Poison Weapon from the Rogue. Because we're using a piercing weapon, we have a hand free because we're punching folks. Now, some GMs may get a little dodgy about the fact that you are applying poison to your hand and then punching someone, but that's what the hand wraps are for, right? They're actually the PPE of Mighty Fist that keep us from getting the acid on our hands and hurting ourselves very bad. But anywho, your next attack with the weapon before the end of your next turn gains the following enhancement. If you miss, it's wasted. This enhancement allows you to apply the effects of a poison you have collected or purchased, provided it can be delivered by contact or injury. If you have no such poisons, you can instead deliver a simple poison that deals 1d4 poison damage. You can only deliver a simple poison in this manner a number of times per day equal to your level. Now, I believe that since precision damage is called out specifically as adding dice to the damage, making the strike bigger, we won't add that poison to forceful. Next down the line, at feat level 8, because we're level 8 now, is improved poison weapon. When you apply that simple poison, it's 2d4 extra, and you don't waste if you miss unless you crit fail. This is again just to buff our damage that much more, because why not, right? This isn't cutting corners for fun and profit. No, this is Wolfang Fist for fun and profit. God, I never thought I'd say those words. Okay, now our monk friend got this a lot sooner than we did, and that's cool, but it's advanced kata. At feat level 10, because we're grabbing monk feats of 5 or back now, we're gonna grab Flying Kick as sideboard tech for the build. One of the big problems of the monk, who now is proficient with other weapons in response, is the inability to fight at range. For 2 actions, you can make a leap or attempt a long jump. At the end of that jump, if you're adjacent to a foe, you can immediately Wolfang Fist, which keeps our damage online. Also, it's super cool to imagine you just like jumping up in the air, not unlike, you know, Z fighters, punching, falling down, having greater catfall at the end of the day, taking none damage, taking a bow, or maybe even flavoring that as a pseudo form of levitation. In higher level play, the caster might very well cast Fly on you, and please, casters, help your boy. Between here and there, though, it's just a good answer for flying creatures that keeps our damage online. Speaking of damage online, it's advanced kata again at 12th level. Check this out. Wolf Drag. For 2 actions, you rip your enemy off their feet. Make a Wolf Jaw strike. Your Wolf Jaw is fatal D12 for this strike. And if you succeed or crit succeed, you knock them on the butt. Or prone, for us people that need rules as written. So check it out. Fatal includes a die size, right? And for us, that's a d12. On a critical hit, all of the weapon's damage dice increase to that die size, plus the weapon adds another die of the listed size. So for all you math nerds out there, and I mean, we play TTRPGs, aren't we all? Let's break down that damage just really quickly. We're only ever seeing our fatal damage on a critical hit. That 6d12 might as well always be 12d12, yeah. Just 12 great axes to the dome, plus 8d6, doubling our sneak attack. On average, that will produce a result of 111. Add 14 more onto that, or at max, with full investing 18 from jump, anklets of alacrity, dexterity of 7 times 2, plus the average of 2d4 from our poison, which is 5, plus forceful, assuming we have it. Now remember, forceful will not see the fatal dice, forceful will not see the poison dice, it only sees, you know, 9, so 18 more, for a grand total of, on average, 148 damage. Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 1, Wolfang Fist! It's so cool! And again, it cheats the restriction on sneak attack. Want to sneak attack with a great axe? Okay, you can't. Want to sneak attack with the same dice as a great axe? Yeah, just look to lefty and righty and make them make wolf shapes. All of this build's other feats and stuff are just gravy. Next up, we'll grab Monk's Flurry. To grab that flurry of blows action, yeah, way later than the monk, sure. But I believe we are much better set up than the monk is at this point, again, because the rogue is the only one that's doing dex to damage, and we have more damage dice than the monk does. So it's okay to wait to 10 for 1 action, make 2 unarmed strikes. If they both hit, combine their damage and enhancements for the purposes of weaknesses and resistances, which allows forceful to tick up much more easily all the way there, though we're not going to crunch the math. I have no faith in a -8 to hit most of the time, though when it does, you're going to hit like a truck. Seriously, send me pictures or screenshots if you're on Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds of those dice. It will be glorious. Our next feat is from the rogue. We're doubling down on our jumping monk powers with Fantastic Leap. Attempt a high jump or long jump. If you attempt a high jump, determine the distance you can travel using the scale of your long jump. Already feels very monkish, right? To a maximum of 30 feet up. At the end of your jump, you can make a melee strike. After your strike, you fall to the ground if you're in the air. If the distance of your fall is no more than the height of your jump, you take no damage and land upright. I'm not entirely sure how you would fall more. Maybe there's like a pit that as a reaction appears or something. But the pseudo-magic flavor of the rogue that made it feel very ninja-esque fits really well on a rogue monk. And again, this can help us cheat how high we can high jump, letting us have our extra shenanigans on flying creatures. Now, at this point, you might, maybe, possibly have a wizard in the party who will just help you fly. Or maybe even like dim door you with catfall up and you can just fall down and wolf fang fist on their neck and then you'll crash to the ground. They'll die horrible deaths, you'll brush off. But if it's not there, this is really good. And yeah, okay, I know this is definitely an optimization video, but that's just too flavorful. Now, 2 more feats is what we have. Next up, we will borrow once again from our archetype Monk Resiliency to grab us 3 additional hit points for each monk archetype feat you have. This is the last monk archetype feat we're taking. Monk Dedication, Wolf Style, Flying Kick, Wolf Drag, Monk's Flurry, and now this one is 6. So that's 18 extra hit points. Because we're gonna be a frontline guy and we only have that D8 hit dice, we gotta shore it up a little bit. Though we'll have a real good armor class, certainly, crits happen. I want to make sure you guys are safe out there. Take Monk Resiliency. And now, for even more shenanigans, we're actually going to grab a capstone feat. I feel like I very rarely do that, but at 20th level, Hidden Paragon, once per hour, when you successfully use Stealth to hide and become sensed to all of your current foes, or use Stealth to sneak and become unseen to all your current foes, assuming you're legendary in Stealth. Dude, you are. Come on. We all know. It's cool. Lets you turn invisible for a minute, even if you act in a hostile manner. Not even see invisibility, glitter dust, or similar effects can reveal you, though you can be sensed with sneaking, but this helps us just, you know, constantly have our sneak attack dice. So I guess we're kind of adding a little, like, pseudo-instant transmission effect in. I don't know. I envision a lot of DBZ-style fighting on this character, and I love it. And did I mention how explosive it is? We're not even talking about the debilitations that the rogue gets, and you get them, and they're good. Assuming someone has the ability to shut off the Jabberwock's regeneration, you'll put out enough damage to kill the Jabberwock in 3, give or take, rounds. Yeah, you gotta hit him. But you're adding plus 33, proficiency at 20, dex at 7, magic weapon at 5, expert proficiency in simple weapons, you get it from rogue, at 1, and we'll treat the Jabberwock as having an armor class of 47. We'll need a 14 to hit with our first attack, so our forceful damage is shut off from Wolf Strike, unless, you know, you roll that 18 to hit with the second strike. But again, this is with no debuffs on the Jabberwock, and there will be debuffs on the Jabberwock. Again, you're a rogue. In addition, there will be other members of the party who are able to target said Jabberwock with conditions, and it all just stacks up for you. Seriously, this is one of the scariest builds I think I've built in the playtest. As for our general feats, at 3rd level, it feels weird to do it on a monk, but shield proficiency. Shields don't count as armor. Shields are shields. Shields add a 2nd bonus, and the shield is the ring of protection of the playtest. You have one or you are wrong from an objective min-maxing standpoint, because the ability to absorb damage is really good. Yeah, this build might have a bit of a rough time finding that extra action to raise a shield, but a wizard will haste you. You get an extra action to strike, then wolf drag, then raise a shield. I have faith we can figure it out. Great Fortitude is our feat at 7th, because we're expert already in perception, reflex, and will. Just shore up the rest. We'll be adopted by gnomes at 11th, then Toughness and DIEHARD, because extra hit points, because die at a greater dying value, because you know why with gnomes, we've said it so much. As for our ancestry feats, Lucky Halfling's ability to re-roll a save or a skill check may save your life. It's just too good to not. Every character has this or is adopted by halflings to get it, I truly feel. Distracting Shadows is hilarious for a small character. Duck behind your human friend, now they can't see you, and then you jump out of the corner and shout, Wolf Fang Fist! And that was probably the last one. Anyway, it just is really good. Guiding Luck, again, as of 1.6, lets you use Lucky Halfling on perception or attack rolls, no fumbles here, at least once a day. It again is why the Witch was so good in Legacy Pathfinder, and in a world where fumbles are rules as written worse, you gotta shore it up. Animal Accomplice and Animal Speaker will be our last two Ancestry feats, because having a familiar will always be good tech, especially for the stealthy guy, because there might be places even small little you can't fit in. Take a familiar, use its ability to look around to your advantage. Seriously, I cannot ever understate how good that is. Animal Speaker, of course, as long as it's a burrowing thing, so get a burrowing thing, will let you talk to it for free, so you can free up an evolution point, which is always really good. Now, only two magic items are going to come up today. They are staples. The Hand Wraps of Mighty Fist are pretty self-explanatory. They are what we enchant our fists with to keep our damage up, and Bracers of Armor, again, for a high dex character, will always come out a little farther ahead. Keep those enchanted at peak as early and as often as you can get your hands on them to keep your armor class competitive and your saves competitive, and really, guys, that's just it. This build is just good. I'm playing it on a human, so I'll be adopted by halflings, and my feats are a little weirder, and I don't know how I'm squeezing his shield in, but we will figure it out, and you guys can check that build out on A Simple Job. First episode's going live on YouTube Sunday night, and that is all we have for tonight. As always, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hitting that like and subscribe button. You guys are amazing. One more time, I'm just gonna do it. Wolfang Fist! All right, Yamcha, back to my childhood years you go, and also DBZ Budokai 3, but pending patron sniping next week on Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, we'll drift back to Legacy Pathfinder and build a character with the fastest initiative we can give them. See you then.